Hello everybody, what a beautiful dawn we have. This is Edward and welcome back. We're playing some more Minecraft. Here's the factory, and there's an iron golem on fire, goodness me. I must admit I was working a little bit into the night, and it looks like things have spawned now that torches are down. Oh my goodness me, that poor iron golem. It's a little bit worse for wear, isn't he? But I guess it is their job. They are the protectors of the villager. And as such, it's a big job now. As you can see, things are a little bit different. One of the machines are removed, and I've got all these dirt blocks here. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. But before I do, how is everybody? I hope you're all having a fantastic day or a fantastic night. And if not, let's make it a fantastic day or a fantastic night, okay? We'll go through this journey together. Now, as you can see, I've been to the nether. I've got some netherrack. And I've got a bit of nether quartz. And I'm grabbing myself some redstone dust. And I'm going to be making myself a few observers to enjoy. If you haven't guessed it already, look at that. I can remember how to make an observer. Actually, I just need to make the one. I just realized. I think I need to make a few pistons, though. Just depending. I'll have a look in my little storage box. But if you haven't guessed it, we are expanding our machine. Yeah, look at that. We got more 18 observers. We've got plenty of redstone and enough quartz to last us a bit here. And we got a chest. See, I'm just making sure. Okay, hoppers. We do need a few more hoppers. One of those have got to go to the to make the hopper rail, but I'll go make some more hoppers if I can remember how. Oh, dearie me. Yes, we're extending. Now, not to say that the automatic sugarcane farm wasn't good. It just wasn't producing a large enough quantity that I needed. So, yes, I'm going to expand it for make it the length of the factory. Well, that's not how you make a hopper. I got a feeling that I need a chest where that ingot was. So let me grab some wood. You can tell that I haven't really made that much. You know what? There's a lot of things I haven't done. I haven't seen the Ender Dragon since they made it. So, I forgot what they did to change it. But they've, oh yeah, the Ender Cities. I've never been to an Ender City. I've never made myself one of those, not made, but got myself one of those, flying things. I know what they're called. I've heard them. I know I've seen YouTubers use them, but I keep trying to say electrolyte, but that's not what it is. Electrolytes, that's what you get in those sugary drinks that are meant to give you energy. Now, okay, so we got our hops. Hops are hoppers here. Hops is what you use to make beer. We're not making beer, well, not yet anyway. So I've just realized I've made this with the intention of, see, this is where I'm putting the staircase right here. See that? So we're going to have to tear this staircase down. We're putting it at the end here, which 4, 5, just making sure it's the right length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's all okay there. Now, see, I've made it, that there needs to have a dirt block. But I wanted to, sorry, I'm getting all mumbled jumbled in my head. I was going to make this with the intention of it being 18 dirt blocks long, or 18 blocks long. The dirt blocks are just a placeholder. But then I realized that if I do that, I won't have it won't be centered very nicely because it will be evens and not odds. And if we're going to go with evens, it's going to mean that we're going to have 2 blocks for a center as opposed to 1 block for a center. So I'm thinking I'll just have to go with 17. And eventually, I mean, it's a bit of a shame, but well, it's not a shame. We're going to have the second floor installed, but what the bit that's got me a bit sad is that we have to lower down our see that? We got to, yeah, I know what I'm trying to say. We're going to have to lower it down by 1 automatic sugarcane farm because, we'll have a look up here. Make sure we put this dirt block back because I don't want them coming up here and hurting themselves, because as you can see, it will be protruding through the floor. So I need to pull down the legs down by 1 and the whole system down by 1 and make it a bit longer. Otherwise, yeah, I don't want this sticking out through the floor, intruding onto the second floor of the factory, because I want to have a different design, different things going up on the second floor of the factory. But it just means that the hoppers are going to be closer to the ground, and I kind of like being able to see the hoppers quite easily. But You know what, maybe I'll like it with it one down as well. I guess we'll have to wait and see. You know, there's no point judging something until we can actually see it. And even still, I'm sure it doesn't matter too much if we can't see the hoppers, as long as the machine works very nicely. I was thinking, well, you know, if I wanted to have the machines that high up, I could essentially just raise the entire building by 1 block or 2 blocks if I wanted to, but I think it might make the factory look a little bit more cartoonish if it's too high, and that's something that I don't want. I kind of like the factory to look semi-realistic as you can in Minecraft, if that's possible. There we go. So that's our legs put in place, and yeah, it won't be. I don't know. Being able to see the guts of the machine looks pretty cool, I reckon. Oh, okay, so there's no redstone on the bottom one, so I don't have to worry about putting redstone there. Just got to make sure that I copy it and extend it. Oh, dearie me. Okay, there we go. That was an accident because as you know, fence posts are 1.5 blocks high, so that made me jump up a little bit higher and place that block there. So I need to be able to put the redstone in, which I'm thinking I should have done already, but you know what? Okay, hoppers. Anyway, while I'm building this, let's have a nice talk. So, we've been having a lot of rain lately where I'm at. A bit of rain. Well, actually, the weather's been a bit unusual because it'll be raining 1 minute and then the sun will be out and then it'll be raining again. I guess it's the autumn weather that we have right now. And as things get cooler, I know I'm certainly getting a bit colder at night. We have the heater turn on in the morning. If I ever own my house one day, I want to make sure it has central heating, because having a cold house to wake up to in the winter time is not nice for anybody. Though I do know some people who really enjoy, sorry, I'm just counting here, really enjoy the cold weather. Now I've lost count. I think I need it. I'm really not good with counting in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go, so that's 9. So that'll be our middle block right there. And then we're going to carve out this area here and we're going to lower this down into the ground, so that way the chest will fit, because yeah, everything's a little bit lower. We're just working with what we've got at the moment. I want to make sure that the nice blocks are down here as well. So, things that have been happening with me lately. The other morning, I was leaving for work, and I was heading to my car, and I noticed my cat or one of our cats, I should say, was looking at the ground, and usually when he's staring at something on the ground, I know he's up to no good. So I went and had an investigation, and there on the ground was this beautiful black butterfly with white spots all over it, and I heard the machine go off, and I felt that if the butterfly stayed there and tried to fly away, our naughty cat would jump on it. So I figured what I'd do is I'd rescue it and put it in a bush, and that's what I did. I picked up the butterfly and I put it on a bush about, I don't know, 1.5 meters high up. I need some more blocks, it seems, and I went to work. And I thought, that would be it with the butterfly. It's okay, it's happy now. I'll wait there for a bit and then go about its day. There we go, I'm happy with that. Look at that, how the stairs make that look a lot nicer. So I go and do my day. It was a day at work, and I do my shift. Anyway, about 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours, I come back home and I look at the tree. Well, I guess it's not a tree, but it's not a bush either. The miniature tree. I look at the miniature tree where the butterfly was, and it's not there anymore. I think, okay, it's gone back to its butterfly home, wherever that may be. And I look on the ground near the tree, and the butterfly's just sitting there on the ground. I thought, oh dear, well, something's not right with this poor butterfly. Sorry, realised I shouldn't be putting that there. Oh dear, didn't mean to do that, getting in the hoppers. So I end up scooping up this butterfly. I figured, I'll take it in for the day and let it rest. So, okay, I'm not doing a very good job with this. Oh dearie me, hoppers everywhere. And because I figured he must have gotten a bit of a fright because of our cat, so I'll look after it for the day, and then the next day I'll put it out, because it was late in the afternoon, so I figured just a nice chance to relax might make it feel a bit better. And so I put it in a box with some leaves, a little plastic container, and I don't worry, I didn't suffocate it. I made sure the box had a bit of air coming in, and the next day I put the butterfly out in the box in our back garden, thinking it's just going to fly away when it's ready. And then a couple of hours later I came back. Oh, now this is a test. Is it going to make it? It does. There we go. If I want to speed up the rail cut, I could always put some more powered rails in, but I think it's okay for the time being. And I don't need these here. This is where the water goes. I need to put the dirt there. So a couple of hours later I go and check up the on the box, and the butterfly's still there. And I kind of I did see this before, but it was, judging by its wings, the poor butterfly is quite old, because the wings are a bit tattered and they were growing a bit in the time that I kept it. Its wings were, I guess, starting to break down. And as with all things, as we get older, things tend to not repair themselves as they should. I just realised how dark it is, so I was just putting some torches down, but oh dear, you know what, I'm going to leave that latch down there so that that poor golem doesn't have to, oh dearie me, it's that poor iron golem. I was going to say stone golem, but it's an iron golem. That poor iron golem can get past from now on. There we go, let's grab that there we go, grab the cobblestone wall. So I pick up the butterfly very carefully, making sure not to touch its very delicate wings, because I'm sure that the oils in our hands won't do the butterfly wings any favors. So I pick up the butterfly and I take him over to a flower, and take her over to a flower, and I essentially fed the butterfly. Butterflies are an amazing thing. Their tongue is this massive coiled up thing that they keep underneath their heads, and when they're eating, it kind of untangles, and they use it and they prod inside the so I just need to grab some water here, doing some damage to the machine, but that's okay, I can fix this up without too much issue. Yeah, they uncoil their tongue, and it's almost as long as their, actually it might be longer than their antenna, and they prod the little bits inside the flower, and I guess eat up all the pollen. So I had to see what exactly butterflies ate, and pollen was their number one go-to for most species. And I need to be able to get up here. There we go. So I took the butterfly to some flowers, and we've only got the one set of flowers really at the moment, because it's heading into winter, so our flowers aren't exactly blooming in the garden. But there's one plant that we have that, there we go, that is blooming pretty much all year round. I don't know what it is. I don't know much about botany and flowers and all that kind of things, but it is interesting to know, and I wouldn't mind studying botany one day, but not just yet. So I held the butterfly in place. It sat on the tip of my finger while it was eating up all this pollen, and then once it was done, it would put its little tongue away, and then I'd move it to the next flower, figuring that it's had all it wanted from that flower, and then it would start to eat at the next flower. And we did this a few times, and it had its breakfast, essentially. Was it its lunch? I forget. And maybe it was brunch, who knows. And so what ended up happening was I realized that this butterfly couldn't fly, and the more I looked at it, did some research, and apparently butterfly wings do not grow back. And if a butterfly's got a broken wing, well, it's not a butterfly anymore, it's a butterwalk at that point. Excuse the dad joke. And so I ended up adopting this butterfly, trying to nurse it back to health, or at least, make sure it can have a nice peaceful last couple of days on this earth, if it is on its way out, if it is quite old. And I called it Betty, but then I found out it was a boy butterfly because of the shape of its wings. And I had a friend of my wife tell me it was a common crow butterfly, which, not the most exciting name if a common's in it, but you know what, it's still butterfly nonetheless, a very pretty butterfly nonetheless. And so I guess I'm not going to call it Betty anymore. I'm going to have to call it Bretty, I suppose. Not that it really matters. I'm sure the butterfly doesn't mind what I call it. Or I don't know. And so I've been feeding it, and I've had to make some artificial nectar solution so it could feed. And essentially it's just 1 part sugar to 10 parts water that's dissolved and boiled and then allowed to cool, and that's your artificial nectar right there for feeding butterflies. And I mean, this is everything I read on the internet. And the thing, no, don't come up here. And one thing I know about the internet is that you read one thing and then someone will contradict that thing on the next website. And yeah, so anyway, that's the recipe I went with, and I made that. And I ended up making I had a huge glass jar that someone I knew that was throwing it out. They just said throw it out, and I said, well, such a pretty jar, do you mind if I keep it? It didn't have a lid, but it certainly was a very pretty jar. So I filled the bottom of it with dirt, and I stuck some branches from a bush in there, a bush that I know the branches and leaves decay very, very, very slowly. They'll still be alive even after a couple of months. So unfortunately, as you can see, I've got to put cobblestone here because this is going to be the floor of my second floor, but it's also got to be the roof because the roof of this machine will be touching. The one thing I'm worried about though is sunlight reaching the sugarcane, so I'm going to have to do some experimenting to see whether or not I need to put torches inside here. But anyway, back to the story. I got the butterfly a nice home, put some branches in there, put some flowers in there. Not that it seems very keen on flowers, but it did seem very keen on fabrics. So I got some cheesecloth. I had some cheesecloth from back in the days when I used to make my own chai tea, which is you need a whole bunch of different spices and teas and clovers, and you boil it all together, and then you have to string it out using the cheesecloth to get all the gritty spices and cloves and everything else out, the tea leaves. So I had some of that, and I made some I don't know what to call it, almost curtains in a way for it to crawl up on the inside, strings of that so it could climb up there, because the fabric's very easy for it to latch onto for a butterfly's legs. And then I used more of the cheesecloth and a rubber bands to seal up the roof so that way it's got fresh air coming in. Oh dearie me, look at that. And so the butterfly has a nice home now, and I've been feeding it breakfast and lunch and dinner. And what I'll do is I'll put it on a flower, and then I'll have a cotton ball soaked with this solution, and I'll put that on the flower too, and the butterfly will start to drink from the flower, get the pollen from the flower, but then we'll find the cotton ball eventually and start to drink from the cotton ball, all the artificial nectar, and quite happily. Otherwise, I mean, I have had to move him around to a few different flowers to make sure he gets enough, but this way I can ensure that it always has something to eat even if the flowers run out, because we do have bees around here that like to take the pollen as well, and I want to make sure the bees have enough pollen to enjoy. I just figured it must be very difficult being a bug, trying to find, well, I guess they're busy all day trying to find themselves pollen to eat. But yeah, that's by the by. There's just millions upon millions of bugs just in everyone's garden, so it's impossible to look after every one of them. Unfortunately, you've got to let the laws of nature take care of itself, and it can be very cruel. And there will be bugs and insects that don't have enough to eat, but that's just the way nature is, isn't it? But I'm doing my best to look after this butterfly, and I read that I wouldn't be able to make it a new butterfly wing, but because I'd probably do more damage than good. But there are entomologists, scientists that studies bugs, might be able to do it. But even then, if the butterfly's only got a few days to live, then it's I think that by the time the entomologist got back to my email, if I requested it, it might be passed on by that point. So all part of life, isn't it? But I'll do my best to feed Betty or Bretty until its final days. As you can see, you know what, I'm thinking I might move this whole, now I've almost finished building it, I might move this machine down by one, but I'm not too sure, just to make it easier to get into the side bit. As you saw, I got stuck on the thing there. Let's see, I'm put a glass in place. Yeah, and put the cobblestone in place actually, so that way I know where the roof is. Oh, dearie me, I didn't realise the... Okay, at least we know the machine works. There, it is a bit of a noise. We should get a lot more sugarcane from this one. If you saw all the sugarcane from the in the other box, in the other sugarcane collector, most of that was brought over from my old farm, but I had to find a place to put it. I figured I'll put the 2 stacks of sugarcane into the collector there, so I know where it's at. Otherwise, if the smaller farms produce that much sugarcane, I don't think I would worry too much about building the bigger machines here. But the old farm, well, where I had to do it all by hand, I'll get easily over a stack, or maybe even close to 2 stacks. But you know what? It's having an automated farm does make things a lot easier, even if it is a bit slower. But yeah, I don't think the sugarcane's going to grow without direct sunlight. I don't know if we're going to get enough sun coming through the windows here. I guess we'll find out. If not, I can always put some glowstone or some torches in. Yeah, I'll put a nice bit of wooden frame here just to kind of help break up all this greyness from the... is it diorite or andesite? I forget. But there is a lot of greyness in these factories here. They weren't made to look pretty, that's for certain. But yeah, I guess using all the cobblestone also didn't help. I guess that's why I used the white here in the staircase to kind of break it up and give it a bit more of a bit more layers. There we are. Well, you know what? It looks like we'll be able to put our second floor in without any issues. I'm not too sure what machines we're going to put up here. Maybe an automated... that's a bit high right there. An automated pumpkin and melon farm. Not that I've got melons yet, but I'm hoping to have melons one day. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what I'm going to build here. But we'll make sure that the sugarcane farm is working well and efficiently before I start building on the second floor. Make sure I get the first floor done first before I deal with moving on to... I guess it's the ground floor before I move on to the floor above. Well, oh, that is... Yeah, I might take that. Yeah, I'm thinking after building this, I might move everything down one. Not that that's difficult. I'll just shorten this end here, take a layer off, and then add it onto the end. So it's not the biggest thing that I need to do if I want to move everything down one. I'll know better once I've got the staircase installed at the end of the hallway, and I'll put in another double door at the ends there, so that way we can get into both sides of the building. Right, well, just trying to think, what am I going to do now? I might put down some torches and do a little test on the sugarcane farm to make sure it's still working okay before we finish recording today's episode, because I want to make sure that it is, that, you know, it will grow even if it doesn't have torches. So we'll do a bit of a study, because although we'll have big windows... Well, that's one thing I've got to worry about, is the windows as well. You know what? While I'm installing the windows, I'll put torches along here. Hang on. Wait, you can put it on glass. You know what? I'm going to put it on the glass. That will make it even better. I'll put the torches on the glass, and we'll see. We'll see if the right side will grow faster, or at all, compared to the left side. And if the right side grows, but the left side doesn't, we'll know that there's a torch issue. And we need to install some torches on the left as well. But I don't want them on the glass, because that looks a bit... a little bit unusual, I must admit. Okay, well, we need to put pillars along... Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll extend this window across here. Make it a bit bigger. That way we have some more light coming through. I do not know. Because then we got the 3 windows there, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, block, 1, 2, 3, block, 1, 2, 3, block. Actually, I just realized, if we're going to put the pillars in, we can't do that, and we want the pillars in there, so it has to be at least 3 wide cobblestone, which will you know, oh dear. Well, because look here, 3 wide, 2 wide, I guess, for the front, and then, yeah, so we're going to do 3 wide. So I'll put this back here. What was I thinking? I'm going to do some maths to make sure that this will work okay, because I'm not too sure what spacage I should have to make everything look symmetrical, considering now that we've got a cap the size of the factory. So we'll just have I'll have to do some maths. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Take care, live long, live well, look after yourselves and each other. Goodbye.